Selecting the right engine oil is the key to both longevity and performance for any drag racing application. Now, we went to our friends at Driven Racing Oil and we got an education on the basics of racing engine lubrication. They explained that no matter what engine we're talking about, it comes down to the 4 R's. The right oil, in the right place, at the right time, and in the right amount. Getting the 4 R's wrong won't automatically lead to catastrophic engine failure, but what it will cause is increased wear and reduced performance. Now, there are some unique differences in what a drag racing engine needs compared to other competition engines or a street engine. We're going to look at that first R and see how choosing the right oil affects the other 3 R's. First, you're going to want to use a dedicated drag racing oil. Using a street formulation or something designed for diesel trucks isn't necessarily going to blow up your engine, but the demands placed on an oil formulated for a slow-revving, high-compression diesel or one intended to go 10,000 miles between changes in a family car are going to be very different from the short, high-intensity world of a drag engine. A racing-specific oil will have an additive package that's tailored specifically for these conditions. Next, viscosity. Now, even given the same bearing clearances, not all drag engines are going to require the same weight of oil. One of the main factors in selecting the right oil viscosity is bearing clearance. The looser the clearance, the thicker the oil needs to be to maintain that dynamic fluid wedge that carries the load on the crank bearings. On the other hand, oil that's too thick won't get where it needs to go in the right quantity, missing 2 of the critical R's of lubrication. The key is determining the viscosity that meets the Goldilocks test. Not too thick for the bearing clearances, nor too thin. So can you just choose your viscosity based on bearing clearance and call it good? Well, there's a couple more factors that you have to consider. Heat plays a very large role in viscosity, even with modern multi-vis racing oils. For example, a pro stock car that gets chilled down with 50-degree water between rounds and is pushed into the lanes is going to need a very different oil viscosity than a super stock car that drives to staging. The 0W5 oil in that pro stock engine at a working temperature of about 100 degrees is going to have almost exactly the same effective viscosity as the 5W20 in the super stock car at 180 degrees. The fuel you're using is also going to have an effect on what the right viscosity of oil for your engine will be. Because of the different air-fuel ratios required for gasoline versus methanol or E85, an engine running on an alcohol-based fuel will put roughly twice as much fuel into the cylinders on each intake stroke. The increased dilution rate for these kinds of fuels means that an engine running 10W40 on race gas will need to run 15W50 on methanol or E85, for example. Finally, you may have noticed that we've been talking exclusively about multi-viscosity oils. Now, back in the day, the common wisdom was to only use a straight weight oil for racing applications. And that was because the chemistry behind viscosity modifiers just really wasn't up to the task of handling racing duty. Nowadays, though, multi-viscosity oils are as good as or better than straight weight oils in resisting viscosity breakdown. So what's the right oil for your application? Well, there's no one right answer for that question. But now you have the information that you need to have an intelligent conversation with the experts at Driven and find out what matches your unique combination's needs.